which is a complicated question, I know, but yes.
I don't think it is really. I think it just comes down to the patriarchy. It comes down to an environment and a situation where men generally, when they are in positions of power, feel that it's okay to mistreat the people that are, you know, their subordinates or their, you know, their staff, the people that they have a duty of care to, actually. And I think we've got I think, you know, as Matt mentioned, the Me Too movement, and I think the biggest issue that I have with the Me Too movement is that everyone said, oh, look, Hollywood has this problem and we're having a Me Too moment in Hollywood, and then suddenly it pops up somewhere else and they go, oh, look at this industry that has a problem. And it isn't an industry based issue. This is across the board. This is where there are big inequalities of power that people, generally men, feel that it is their right to abuse that power, and that is what's going on here. That's what's happening. I mean, there's stories about, you know, that all the games designers are treated like gods and can basically get away with anything, and that, you know, that all of the World of Warcraft designers are like, you know, untouchable, and because they bring so much money in. And it's like, oh, we can't cope without that person. We can't cope without this person. And and I think, you know, that on one hand, that's extremely depressing. But I think, again, as Matt says, you know, the power actually lies with us, the consumers, and we can, you know, put some pressure on them to deal with it. So I don't think it is a complicated problem. And I read an article earlier where they were saying, and I do want to link this to Gamergate in a bit, but I read an article where they were saying, you know, it's 7 years on from Gamergate, and they said that this lawsuit has reignited a discussion about the video gaming culture and whether the industry's treatment of women is toxic. And I'm like, we don't need to have a conversation about whether their treatment of women is toxic. It is.
Yeah.
We just need to have a conversation. And it's not just women, it's minorities, and it's people with disabilities. It's just, the whole thing is just appalling. And what we need to do is get on and talk about how we're going to fix it. And even that we don't need to have much of a conversation about, because there are plenty of people out there who have spent years researching this stuff and know how to fix it. So what these businesses need to do is they need to get those people in, and they need to deal with the situation instead of just chucking it into the long grass and hoping that no one will think about it again for another 10 years. Sorry, I said I was ready this evening.
No, it's good. This is what we like. We all want to hear. It's all good. No, it's exactly how I feel as well. There's no point in trying to hide it under the carpet, because, you know, we already know it's happening. We know it's a problem and we know how to deal with it exactly. So it's about time that some action was taken. And I think that we as consumers do have a lot of power to push those actions into being, and to let our voices be heard. So I'm hopeful that this is a moment of change for us, and we can enact that change. Matt, how do you feel?
Yeah, one of the key problems that is what is being overcome mainly, I think social media is so profoundly important, has been over the last 20 or so years, in moving the culture war towards the right side of history. What has always happened in the past is, if you've got Activision Blizzard, you've got Call of Duty, the Call of Duty franchise, World of Warcraft, led by these geniuses, these gods among men, who create this and make all these hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And then a woman comes to HR and says, he's been sexually assaulted me and harassing me for the last 6 months. You think they're going to go, oh, we've got to, because it's right and because it's justice and it's against the rules, we're going to have to punish this man and and sacrifice that and have all this PR and everything? Or do we sacrifice this one solitary woman who might be a secretary or a junior level designer? Do we say she's difficult and kick her out and then blackball her from the industry so no one cares? They've done that forever, but now that's been happening, and now they've all got together and go, hello, you tried to sweep us all under the mat. Well, now there are enough under here that we can throw the mat off and beat you to death with it. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening. The thing you said why it's happening right now, I think it might have something to do with the fact that most of them have been working from home for the last year and a half. And then when they think about going back to the office, they think, I'm going to go back to that. And it might have just been an offside of COVID that got them thinking about it.
That's a really good point.
Such a good point, yeah.
Yeah, the world's really changed, obviously, since the pandemic, and I think it has made us reassess our working lives and see it from a different point of view, I guess, like they probably realised, oh, so this is what it's like to work without harassment in the office every day. Just got a comment I'm going to show from Daniel, who says, excellent analogy, Matt. So that's good. Putting my academic hat on, going back to the point about where you were talking about the women in HR, Matt, from the higher-ups point of view, they're just thinking about risk management, and the biggest risk for them is probably reputational risk, where they're trying to juggle, oh, we don't want all that stuff to come out, we don't want our reputation damaged, and now there's so much of it in the background boiling up that it's just all exploded and turned into an absolutely massive amount of reputational damage for them. So that risk has not been managed well.
Absolutely.